Well, you're very welcome to the Betfred Boxing Show with myself, Dom McGuinness, and as ever, Anthony $1 Million Crolla. And as ever, we're going to look back to the weekend's action. We're going to preview what's coming up as well, and a few more bits and pieces. We've got a star interview as well to bring you today. Eddie Hearn will join us on the Boxing Show with a very, very special reporter doing the business. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. But Anthony, first things first. I know we're both busy. We're about on the road, I should say. The pair of us. I'm over in Ireland at the minute. You're in Sheffield. It's busy, 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 but that's just the way it is. But we still are committed to the Betfred Boxing Show. That's the way it is.
Of course, and the way it should be. Enjoy it. Look forward to us all being back in the studio soon. But no, great and a lot to talk about as well.
We have indeed. Now we're going to start. Well, there was a show in Belfast on Friday night that I know caught the imagination. An amazing atmosphere in the Falls Park area, I think it was, with Nick Conlan, and again, he did the business in an all-Ireland affair against TJ Domini, and it was a really good performance, and again, a special event, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. Like you say, great fight. You know, Domini gave Conlan a lot to think about, but probably a career-best performance from Michael Conlan. Unbelievable atmosphere. I think, as you know, I was with you the weekend. Not stop singing the walkout tune in Grace. Unbelievable atmosphere, and I think there's many more big nights to come in one of the best fight cities in the world, in Belfast. But yeah, brilliant. And obviously we didn't stop there. I think Saturday night we was over in the York Hall, Bethnal Green, another unbelievable fight venue.
Yeah, it was a great show. On the top of the bill as well, Lewis Isaacs against Dan Morley. It was an absolute belter, wasn't it? It was only a Southern area type elimination. So often is the case with fights like that. Two unbeaten lads giving it absolutely everything. And Morley came out on top, but Isaacs can come again. But it really was fantastic action, wasn't it? And a good card as well.
Brilliant fight. Some good performances on the undercard. Fuad Hussein, John McCallan fought Pooch. Good to see Pooch out as always. But yeah, in the main event, Morley was he was punch perfect, and Isaac, listen, he never stopped trying. You know, we spoke to him after the fight, and he's on about dropping down in lightweight, which I think would be a great decision for him. But it was a brilliant fight, and it was just a matter of, I think, Morley, you got to give him and his team credit. Tactics was spot on. He boxed a perfect fight. We said, didn't we? It was like one of those undercard fights what just deserved a much bigger stage, and I wouldn't be surprised if down the line they meet again for something a little bit bigger. But for me, that's great to see him boxing two lads, 6-0, putting it all on the line, and they didn't disappoint.
No, it was a great card at the York Hall. Fight Zone moving around the country, and Fight Zone as it has. It started off in Sheffield, it's been in Scotland, it's been in London now. It's going to be back in London in 10 days' time. But of course, Malta at the weekend. And Lucy Wildheart, who tops the bill in Malta, she was at the York Hall. Of course, we spoke to her. She's going in against Ana Larissa de Leon in Malta, and it's a busy card in that one as well. But it just shows you really, I suppose, the ambition of Fight Zone, and just great to see so many fighters of a certain level at this point in their careers getting out and getting some attention. Yes,
Lucy Wildheart, very capable fighter. I've watched her very early on. I was speaking to a Saturday. She didn't stay too late. I think she had a 5 a.m. flight out to catch to get to Malta so she could get acclimatized and everything out there. But I think we speak about almost every week just how the women's game's grown and grown, and she's certainly one of those names who, who's going to play a big part of it. And obviously, and a ranking, which I'm sure we're going to speak about at some point in the future. She's got a huge announcement again on Fight Zone, fighting for a world title.
Yeah, Hannah was part of the team, obviously, at the York Hall, but, a top pro in every sense, really, isn't she, in terms of, obviously, the way she articulates herself, the way, the classical musician that she is as well, but also, yeah, she's got great ambition and has that world title fight, so it'll be really interesting to see her performing that, and what will be an all-female card as well on Fight Zone in a few weeks' time. But, of course, there was another big event over the weekend in Essex, Eddie's Garden again, Fight Camp on the Zone. And a world title fight, Jazza Dickens and Kid Galahad. They'd met before in 2013. That one went Kid Galahad's way. And it wasn't revenge for Jazza. It was repeat for Kid Galahad, for Barry Awad. And he moves on. It was a great scrap again.
It was, yes, it was. And, you know, Jazza started the fight well, but all in all, it was an unbelievable performance from Kid Galahad. I've actually just seen him then, and Joe, there's a lot of history in that Winkerbank gym, and I think he was saying just how proud he was. He was sort of the last of Brendan Ingle's lads who he started. And listen, I think credit's got to be given to Dom Ingle here. You know, he'll speak about his dad, but he spent an awful lot of time with Barry. He was punch perfect, and he staked his claim to be one of the very top featherweights in the world. After that, he announced the promotional agreement with Eddie Hearn and his own Matchroom. He was punch perfect, like you say. And Jazza, I think everyone loves Jazza. Lovely guy, and he's someone who's deserving to win the world out for the effort he puts in. You know, it's him, but also, like you say, with Kid Galahad, he's the ultimate professional. And it was, you know, Jazza was brave as always, and he can come again. I really believe that he can come again. But I think on the night, he met a special fighter in Kid Galahad who put in a special performance.
Yeah, he did. Again, it's an interesting division, but more on that to come as well in a very special chat with our reporter out and about and a big promoter by the name of Eddie Hearn. But of course, there is another fight camp, a game which will be touched upon in a little while. But, you know, obviously, Buatsi and Bolotniks, it's the third in the fight camp series. And again, when you look at this, I mean, Buatsi hasn't put a foot wrong as a pro yet. 14 fights, 12 stoppages as well, no defeats. Bolotniks is a tough operator, been around the block a little bit. And it's another busy card, and it's another event that I think has been really well received on DAZN, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, and I'm really looking forward to this main. And obviously, I know Bolotniks pretty well, being in the opposite corner to him, Jose Burton, last year. Unbelievably strong for a light heavyweight. In the form of his career, he had a good win against Michael. After that stoppage, he stopped Stevie Ward in the quarterfinals of that tournament. It's without a doubt. I see this as Joshua Buatsi's, like, you know, it could be his coming out party. He's a very dangerous fighter, Bolotniks. I fancy Buatsi to win, but you can't underestimate Bolotniks. So I've been over in Latvia, and Marius Bradis over there, he's like a god. But they're trying to push Bolotniks to be the next superstar out of there. He's in the form of his life. And they really fancy it. You know, he looks in unreal shape in the posts he's been putting out, in the post he's been putting out on social media. I think Joshua Buatsi going out with Virgil Hunter, it's a chance to show, you know, improvements. Defensively, he certainly can't be getting hit as often as what he did a few fights back. But I think, you know, that Joshua Buatsi, very smart fighter, but he's also got that in him where he can just switch. I'm a huge Joshua Buatsi fan. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I fancy him to come through on points. He'll get asked a few questions, though. I really believe that. But a fight I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, he's had a few defeats on his record, Bolotniks, but he's absolutely coming to take the O from Buatsi, no doubt about that. And again, he's learned from mistakes. He's one of them. It's been like that old cliche, it's a learn, not a loss, all that kind of business. But yeah, really intriguing one for Buatsi, definitely a step up. But of course, there was a press conference in Liverpool this week, and this is one that's really got the attention of the boxing public. You know, it's an all Scouse affair. Liam Smith, who we spoke to last week, of course, here on the Betfred Boxing Show, and he's taken on Anthony Fowler. And we knew that there'd start to be a little bit of needle in this one. But of course, the ace reporter that we sent down to the press conference did the business. Anthony $1 Million Crolla here with Eddie Hearn.
Okay, so we're in Liverpool, Hilton. First press conference in 18 months, Ed. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right, mate. I mean, I didn't know if it was Crolla interviewing me or Jorge Masvidal with that Barnett, but it was great. It's kind of like
Jack Grealish.
It felt like, you know, when you have a birthday party and you haven't thrown one for a while, you just hope people will turn up. And obviously, you always know the size of a show by the amount of people that come to the press conference. Yes. Do you know what I mean? When you were fighting, there used to be a lot of people turn up, to be fair. This one, I think, it's caught people's attention. It's got their imagination. Right. Liverpool v Liverpool, big fight.
Yeah, huge fight. And you just mentioned the undercard, Ed, in the press conference. It's the light middleweight division. There's not a bad fight on the card. Even right down from the lightweight with Luke Willis finally getting his chance with Ryland Clark. Where do you see like the winner, those two winners? Do you see those two winners fighting each other and then pushing towards the winner of the main event?
Yeah, I think it's probably the best Saturday night card we've done for many years, and certainly in Liverpool. I think JJ Metcalf against Kieran Conway, great example of, you know the game, Crolla. It's like you suffer a loss, yes, and what you really want is a little easy 10-rounder just to get back on the horse, right? So here I said, look guys, why don't you just fight each other? Oh yeah, but you know, and it's obviously we're lucky to be in this deal we're in at the moment with the zone where I can say, no, here's the money, it's great money, and if you think you can win, do it. Yeah. So then you get Kieran Conway against the JJ Metcalf, and obviously Cheeseman against Williamson was a purse bid as well, 2 great fights. And then you got like Fowler Smith, so intriguing because someone said to me, yeah, but where does Anthony Fowler go if he gets beat? It's like what Liam said to me. I said, to be honest with you, he's where he is now.
He fights one of the winners.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I know he said, yeah, but why should they fight him? Because it's such a high-profile fight. The pressure really is on Beefy. And I know he's a favourite, but he can't afford to lose his fight, especially like even personally. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because he won't want to be walking around here. So the card is great. Shannon Courtney defending her world title as well. Like you said, Luke Willis against Ryland Charlton's a real good tear-up as well. And it's just a great card. I've missed Liverpool. I miss going out.
Great sized arena, yes. Yeah. Downstairs, they always look after you.
Old days.
Now, good. You mentioned there about the light middleweight, going over the fight camps there the last 2 weeks. The featherweight division probably at a higher level because they're already there at world level, and Josh has got his big fight coming up. Do you see a similar sort of process there, possibly around Robin tournament? Josh comes through that hopefully against Lara. You've got Galahad who put in a brilliant performance against Jazza. Jazza can come back again, and then Lee Wood. Do you see a similar?
I do. I think whenever there's a division where there's loads of great fights domestically, you should just try and make them all. But the only thing stopping them is the money, or has been stopping them. Now we can actually do those fights. When you were fighting, people talk about the Campbell fight, and eventually we got the Burns fight. But basically, it's like no one really wants to lose a domestic fight. People are happy to lose at world level, but they don't want to lose to a domestic fight. It's a bit like, when Warrington fought Galahad, really close fight, he wants to move on and not fight Galahad anymore. Now Galahad's looking, do you fight Jordan Gill? Well, no, I fight Jordan Gill, I could fight someone, unify. So basically it all comes down to money, but when you look at that division, quite rightly, Warrington has to beat Lara first. I mean, that's... everyone's talking about Warrington against him and Warrington against him. He has to beat a guy that just stopped him. Obviously Kid Galahad looking to defend and then unify. Hopefully the WBA make Lee Wood the super champion. He could. I think if they make him super champion, Kid Galahad should fight Lee Wood. WBA Super, IBF, Nottingham against Sheffield, great fight. And one thing about Kid Galahad was, I think he should get credit for Saturday because sometimes people have questioned how exciting he is. Threw over 1,000 punches on Saturday. He was, and he's spiteful, and he's going to be really difficult to beat.
Definitely. I think people underestimate just how strong the featherweight is as well, don't they, Ed? I think last but not least, this week, great main event. I was there the night Bolotnik beat Jose Burton in the corner.
Strong.
Very strong. How do you see it going, Ed? Do you think?
I think it's a war, and I guess you just hope that you're right about Joshua Buatsi.
Yes.
From the moment I saw him in the Rio Olympics winning bronze, I thought this kid is a tremendous fighter. He loves to have a war. He keeps every interview I listen to him, and he talks about he wants to go into deep waters with Bolotniks and stuff like that. And the part of me is going, well,
smart.
Bolotniks. That's where Bolotniks wants you.
Yes,
He wants to have a tear up in this fight. He's carved out of stone. He's so tough. But we always talk about that fight between where you're fighting and world level, and having something in between that shows you're ready. Yeah. And if he can deal with Bolotniks in style, I believe he should go on and fight for a world title. I think Buatsi is an outstanding talent, but we're going to find out on Saturday just how good he is.
Finally, Ed, you mentioned then Pete McGrail.
Yes.
Possibly the pick of the litter regarding the Olympians. You're going to be looking to be adding more for sure, yeah?
Yeah, I think the Olympians have been incredible. Some of them, my advice to him is just to get started straight away, particularly the ones that didn't medal, because those guys are going to be going doing their road show now.
The show,
someone like Peter McGrail, we spoke to him. We'll talk about the promotional deal later, but for now, here's the opportunity to jump on October 9, debut in front of 9,000 people in Liverpool and start your journey. So, all of those guys, we want to sign them all, and we'll be in the hunt to do so.
Good stuff. Ed, thank you, mate, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Now, you've been doing quite a bit of presenting recently, Anthony, and obviously lots of media work, but there you were, out and out reporting there and speaking to Eddie and getting yourself about at that press conference. Well, you enjoyed that?
Do you know what? I really did enjoy it. A few pointers from Josh from the team, the Betfred team. But a little bit fish out of water, but no, I enjoyed it. And listen, great to be around a press conference again with actual attendance. There was a great crowd there, which you expected from a Liverpool derby like that. But yeah, real good turnout.
Yeah. You ended that chat there about Peter McGrail, so that leads us into the Olympic stuff. But just before we get there as well, obviously the Fowler-Smith head-to-head, a lot made of the fact that Liam didn't shake the hand of Fowler. Liam's kind of said, everyone's being a bit oversensitive here. I don't want to shake his hand, blah, blah, blah. We want to get the fight on and all the rest of it. I mean, from your point of view, your press conference were all love-ins, really. There was never any needle. You're all just the mates. What did you make of that?
No, right. So with that, obviously, Anthony Fowler is really respectful. He's speaking well of Liam and the whole Smith brother family, what they've done for the city. But I also got, and it's not me, defending Liam just because he's a friend of mine, but he says, this lad is looking to finish my career. He says, I can't shake his hand. I've never been fake, and I'm not going to start being fake now. I'm not going to shake his hand, then go on with the pillar and then try and, build up some dislike for Anthony Fowler because of what he's doing. He says, if he wants to, we'll shake hands after the fight. So I also respect that. And I think you go and listen, by the time fight week comes, this fight comes, there'll be plenty of needle back and forth. I promised that a little bit yesterday, but I think Eddie was doing his best to stir it as well. But it's a fight there's going to be a great crowd in the Echo, the M&S Arena now. That night, and it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be an absolute belter that. Again, though, we mentioned that, touched upon it, and Eddie wants to get stuck into the Olympians. No surprise there. He's constantly done that the last couple of cycles, obviously. But in terms of those that he may be looking at now, in terms of the whole, the gold medalists, Galal Yafai, Lauren Price, and the silver medalist, Pat McCormack. Ben Whittaker got silver as well. Obviously, he wasn't very pleased with that, was he? I think he's changed his tune a little bit. And then Fraser Clark, Big Fraser getting a bronze, as did Karis Artingstall. And again, from the GB point of view, not surprisingly, Eddie's probably thinking, I want to get my hands on all of them.
Of course he is. And listen, let's not forget, it's GB's most successful team that we've ever had. Yeah. And if it's up to him, he'll get every single one of them who's going to turn professional. I think we do see both from the men's team, the women's team. We see every one of them. There's a great chance every one of them will turn into professional ranks, with the exception of maybe one or two. But there's listen, it's hard to pick a standout performer, from them all. There were some unbelievable performances. But listen, starting with Pete McGrail, who might have not had the tournament where he medalled when him being one of our main medal hopes. But I feel that he's one of our greatest amateurs in recent times. So it's an unbelievable signing. But he's certainly going to be looking to sign a few more fighters for sure.
What's always interesting as well, though, Anne, it's not all about the medalists, is it? Because if you think about in recent cycles, Savannah Marshall didn't medal. And again, look what she's gone on to do. And Lauren Price could be in and around her division, which could be interesting. But also as well, you think of Josh Taylor, who was at London 2012. He didn't medal. Look what he's now gone on to do.
It's won all the marbles, hasn't it? Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, I always said the amateur game, the professional game are almost two very different sports. But I mean, listen, all in all, you expect them to do well. Those who've done well at the major tournaments, but still, there's fighters. Listen, how many world champions actually went to Olympic Games? So no, it's certainly not the case. And there's fighters, who we hear little from the Olympics who have no doubts we will hear a lot more about in the professional ranks.
Yeah. And of course, I'm speaking to you from the west of Ireland, where all the talk over here has been Kelly Harrington, and the homecoming that she's had has been absolutely incredible, because the whole of the North Inner City Dublin have turned out for her, because of course gold medals, it's hard for a small nation like Ireland to get gold medals, but of course boxing's always been very, very strong, amateur and pro with the Irish. Aidan Walsh as well, medaling as well, and tragedy for him that fracturing the ankle with the celebration, so he couldn't fight Pat McCormack in that semi, but of course still to medal, fantastic achievement. It's been so well received over here.
Unbelievable achievement. And I think Aidan Walsh's sister, I think not enough was made out of that, brother and sister both going to the Olympic Games, unbelievable. Some unbelievable performances from the Ireland team. They've always been very strong in the amateur game, and So I think where you are there, it'd be great to see a little bit of professional boxing back there. But yeah, no, the Irish amateur setup for years and years has been very, very strong.
It has indeed. Well, just finally as well, because we like to end on Crolla's week. Will you be walking in Memphis this week?
Do you know what? I think I might just be this Friday. It just depends if anyone else drags me to a karaoke bar in Soho at 1 o'clock in the morning after a few beers. But there's a great chance.
What do you think you're doing when you're going to work, Anthony, for the weekend, and then you end up, I don't know what you're up to, in a karaoke bar in Soho singing "Walking in Memphis" in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I can't think who would have dragged me there, but whoever it was a bad influence.
Well, there you go. And of course, it's going to be a busy week for you as normal, and in terms of training the fighters and all the rest of it. I mean, you had Eddie, obviously, hanging on your every word this week. And were you talking about your fighters and opportunities for them as well going forward?
Yeah, opportunities if they come going forward. I'm going to have a fighter on the Smith Fowler card for sure. But I think all in all, there's not too much changing. The weekend of the 11th and 12th, I've got 3 fighters out. So they're well and truly, into camp.
Fantastic stuff. Right, well, Anthony, have a great week, and we'll catch up next weekend as well. Look out as well on social media, because Anthony was busy at that press conference. He's been sitting down with the Smith brothers. He's been talking to other fighters as well. You'll see that on Betfred social media. Lots of football chit-chat as well. Well worth a look. Busy boy, but it's back to training for him for a few days, and I'll see you next week. We'll be back in the studio, which will be fantastic.
I will see you next week. Yes, and it's going to be great to be back in the studio.
These crazy times, hopefully getting a little bit more normal now. So it will be good to do that. But of course, we're bringing you all the action anyway here. What is always the Betfred Boxing Show.